All right, let's see here. What's going on, everybody? It is 10:35, Monday, July 26th, 2021. I was at Disney all weekend. So, although I was definitely on Twitter and, checking my stuff, I was not really posting anything. I did kind of do a video during the fireworks to talk about a couple things while I was there that, I was kind of excited about, but that took forever to upload, so I don't think it was even available for like 18 hours or something. But anyway, let's get caught up on what's going on. So now I don't have like the whole market selected. This is just all the stuff that I'm personally worried about. If there is stuff that you guys ever really, really want to see, if enough of you guys speak up about it, maybe I'll throw it on my list. But this is most of the stuff that I'm paying attention to, and this is fantastic to look at, to be honest. I mean, if you go into the yearlies, Doge is still up 6,600%. And keep in mind, that was up to 30,000% at one point. So, pretty crazy. XDC, I keep telling you guys, obviously it's not financial advice, but it is a token worth researching. ETH's up here. Even Casino Coin. I mean, all this stuff is, for the year as of right now, is kicking Bitcoin's butt, guys. Keep that in mind. Casino Coin has had twice the return in the past year as Bitcoin. I know the numbers kind of throw people off. It's big and shiny, but just remember, I mean, even Doge has done like 30 some times better. Was my math even right? Yeah, it is. About 30 times better. So just something to look at. These guys have not even been around a year, so there's not going to be any information. But if you look, the lowest thing on my list is I got 135% on the year. That's pretty awesome. I want to go over the 90 days real quick. You got some pretty big recovery up here on the Kava platform. Loving that. I've done videos. If you guys, go check that stuff out. It's really cool. Cardano is back above its 90 day. And then Zinfin's fighting, ETH is fighting, and, of course, everybody's fighting at that point. Casino Coin, for some reason, maybe I guess it's flat from 90 days. That's interesting. You don't see that often, but you do still have some people that are down in the 70s and the 60s and 50%. I mean, there's still some heavy hits. But then you get over to your 30, and the thing I'm liking about that is you're seeing almost a full recovery across the board. Keep in mind, this is not actually a Spark token. This is an IOU that's issued on Bitrue, so it is fake for all intents and purposes. It will be, if you own these, they will be honored when the actual token is airdropped. I'm not saying it's not. It's a placeholder though. So this is totally uninformative in my opinion. Doge is the only one that's still down a little bit on the 30. That's okay. I think maybe it'll make a decent comeback when Flare drops, but it's still fighting. And then you get back in your 7 days into the more near term, and everybody's bouncing back. It's looking good. Once this 90 day gets taken care of a little bit more, I'll be happy, but things are looking better, that's for sure. I wanted to jump over on here and just show a couple charts. I've been charting this Bitcoin thing a little heavily recently just because I think it's, it is what's driving the market right now. And I just wanted to show you guys, it did close. We got up here above the 702 and everything, which is awesome to see that we're up there again. I mean, it's been a while to see that. I believe the weekly did close above the 702, but you see we punched right through it, and that's an area of big resistance. The 781 or 786 kind of kicked it back too, but I mean, it almost went past the last high, and once that happens and we get in this range, obviously you'll start pulling your fib levels from higher on up, but it's really good. I mean, as you can see just from here, I mean, if you jump up to the next big step, it almost cleared that 382, which would have put you up in this range. And a lot of these are, not too bad getting through. It's, when you get in here, you got to start watching stuff again, which, as you guys know, I do have that marked off. Let me just do that on my total altcoin market cap. That does not include Bitcoin. Anyway, so here's the Ethereum chart. You see the same thing. I mean, look at these green candles. These are all dailies. Just boom, 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 boom. This one got to right to the 702 and is rejected a little bit. That's okay. We got one above. We got one getting, fighting right there. I like to see this a lot. It's making me really happy. It's taken us a while to get back in here. Keep in mind, a couple weeks ago when we saw the rollover. That can happen. That's why these are really important to pay attention to. I, for one, think that we are going to break through and continue on. How high, I'm unsure of. I don't really do price calls like that, but just with all the narrative and stuff that we're going to get in today, I don't see this thing slowing down right now. Let's hope I'm right. That is not financial advice. Don't ever buy, sell, trade, or do anything based on anything I say on this channel. It's probably not a great idea. This is the total altcoin market cap excluding Bitcoin, and this is up where you see I was talking about how those areas are so reactionary. Well, this one that I have drawn there is coming back into here. You can see it's the 618 to the 786. That's basically what I am watching as we what am I doing here? As we get back up there and recover, and you can see again the whole altcoin market boom slammed directly into the 702 and then rejected. It doesn't mean we're going to roll over. We haven't really hit it since we dropped anyway. You can see we got kind of close. So that is progress right there. Let's see how the day goes. And then over here at the XRP chart, the 64 cent range is the range a lot of people are talking about. You can see I have it marked off here as kind of where the resistance gets broke here, and it looks like it's building some support. We can see that it's been very active along that line every time it's in that range. So, here we are at 65. We are above it. It's a little hard to see like that, but just a tiny bit. And, it's just a bit up that fib level, too. And my levels are pulled a little sloppy right now, too. So, really we could even be looking at this from a standpoint like this. And then if we do that, it looks like we're slamming through the 702 like everybody else. So maybe I will make just a slight adjustment to my chart. So we're getting, I want to see that. Let's see if it continues with that. And you get this little V shape too. This is a pretty boom up and out of there looking thing here. So you saw a gradual drop and then bam. So I'm excited for all that. 1 second, I gotta take a drink, guys. Oh man, sorry. Bitcoin breaks back above 39K and largest single day gain in 6 weeks. Sunday's price rise follows an unconfirmed report. Amazon is looking to accept Bitcoin payments by the end of the year, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. The price action is aligning with what we've been seeing the past couple of weeks. Borrowing rates for USD have started to increase from its lows. We've also been seeing a significant increase in demand for USDC from institutional borrowers, and the sentiment seems to be bullish following the news of Amazon participating in Bitcoin. Now, that participating, I think you could say yes, because they're hiring right now for certain positions, which we'll cover in a second. But this whole thing, an unconfirmed single source story in City AM has reported retail giant Amazon looking to accept Bitcoin payments by the end of the year and is considering minting its own token by 2022. The retail giant is also seeking a digital currency and blockchain product lead, which has previously been reported. Amazon has not, responded to that. More prominently, there were conversations held last week between Jack Dorsey, Elon Musk, and Cathie Wood at the Bitcoin conference where they talked about where they see Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies going with respect to their own organizations. And I think that was all very important stuff to watch. I did do a live on it. It's pretty sloppy. If you just go to the bword.org or whatever it is, just search for the B word, Bitcoin, it should show up. There's some very good information in there, especially when those people were all talking. And this is where they're talking about Amazon hunting for that digital currency and blockchain lead. It says you will leverage your domain experience in blockchain, distributed ledger, central bank, digital currency, and cryptocurrency, develop the case for the capabilities which should be developed, drive overall vision and product strategy, and gain leadership, buy-in, and investment for new capabilities. The digital currency and blockchain lead will also work with other teams across the company, including AWS, to develop the roadmap that includes customer experience and technical strategy. So in 2020, online retail platform Amazon reported a net income of $21 billion US, up from $11 billion the year before. During the same fiscal period, the company's revenue amounted to more than $386 billion US. So that's if some of this stuff is confirmed. That's a big amount of adoption in one shot. I mean, Facebook's rolling out DM. That's 2.7 billion user base. Amazon's bigger than that, I have to think, just with there's so many transactions going in. eBay is about to be the biggest NFT marketplace on the planet. They're working on that platform right now. I mean, just pay attention, guys. And they're talking more about the B word, and it's some insider claim that Amazon is lining up the Bitcoin payment and possibly its own token. It says this isn't just going through the motions to set up a cryptocurrency payment solution at some point in the future. This is a full-on, well-discussed, integral part of the future mechanism of how Amazon will work. It begins with Bitcoin. This is the key first stage of this crypto project, and the directive is coming from the very top, Jeff Bezos himself. Other cryptos to be considered as well. Ethereum, Cardano, and Bitcoin Cash will be next in line before they bring about 8 of the most popular cryptos online. It won't take long because the plans are already there, and they have been working on this since 2019. This entire project is pretty much ready to roll. So this has been unconfirmed. This is driving most of the price action in the market right now. But we've always talked about, when the narrative is down, you need something big like this to turn it around. And maybe that's what this is. We'll see how it pans out in the future. But I think there's some bigger news coming up. Excuse me, I dropped something. There's some bigger news coming up that we're going to cover at the end of this video. And, this just goes into more about what the insider was saying. I thought this was interesting. Real Boy XRP had posted this, and it says, Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies have fallen on hard times recently, but the sector may have found its hero in the form of Amazon. The company's job vacancy advertising for a digital currency and blockchain product lead has sparked rampant speculation over what the tech giant might have planned. The new position will be part of the team responsible for how Amazon's customers pay on its platforms. And that's interesting, right? And then you have Mr. Whale down here. And this is this is an interesting account to follow on Twitter. A lot of good information. Some opinions I don't always agree with, but that's okay. We're all allowed to do that. I do follow that account. A lot of great information on there. I think it outweighs the negative that I may have been saying there. But what is interesting is he says here, another fake Bitcoin rumor is circulating there now, saying Amazon is accepting it as a payment method. This is a comic tactic that the maximalists will use to manipulate the prices. Don't fall for the trap. Remember just a few weeks ago when they lied and claimed that Apple had bought in. So, this caught my eye. I remember when some of this was being talked about, and Mr. Whale has a Medium, which has got tons of stuff. He got 6,000 followers. That's quite a bit. I come on here every now and then and see what he's got to say. He also has a like a guide to crypto type thing. I don't remember what the exact title is. Maybe I can I'll just open that in the next tab and we'll look. Anyway, but he goes over what he's saying is fake news by the Bitcoin maxis. They claim this Israeli investment fund was invested $2 billion in Bitcoin, but come to find out it did not. It was not a real company, and it was also a fake Twitter. Apple didn't purchase $2.5 billion. NYDIG did not bring buying and selling Bitcoin to 300 million banking accounts. Walmart and Alibaba have not purchased Bitcoin, which was, they filed their quarterly filings right after that all came out. So that's the reason. Paraguay and Mexico are not adopting Bitcoin. Paraguay, in fact, is laying down heavy regulation on cryptocurrency at large, which was interesting. When I actually read that bill, I was like, that's crazy. I thought they were, adopting it. Yes, see here it says here. The bill is proposed by a party that holds only 2 seats in the government. Yeah, it's pretty interesting there. And it just goes over some of that stuff. So, be careful what you do buy in. Do all your own research. You should vet anybody, any information from anybody. Vet the person, too. And then here's Mr. Wheel. I mean, you can see, he talks a lot about Bitcoin going down, and I don't think Bitcoin's king forever. So, but anyway, what was I looking for on here? I was going to see if he had something. I don't remember what it was. You guys hear my son out there. He's yelling at the TV apparently. So anyway, you can follow the guy. He's got some... Oh, I was looking for that guide. That's what it was. Let me go back real quick. I'm kind of messing up the flow of the video real quick, but if I see a place to grab it. I don't see a place to grab it, but go check his account out. He does have the guide somewhere. I'll just see if I can find a Twitter link. And then here was some cool things that I saw some people talking about this morning. Most of these videos are pretty short, so let's watch a couple.
In the next 3 months, we should expect crypto to sort of consolidate around here. We do think that people are going to be picking sort of assets to focus on, particularly revenue generating tokens in the market. We've seen a focus on NFTs and gaming, as well as sort of the catalyst surrounding Ethereum. There's a lot of things going on with EIP 1559 in the next couple of weeks. So I think in the next month or two, that's kind of where the focus will be, trying to find out performance opportunities. In the next
So that kind of plays into the thought process some people have of people getting bored with Bitcoin at some point and going into some of these new things. Some of these investors kind of like to follow the trends. Here's another great article, though. Banks prepare for Bitcoin adoption. And, this just goes over some cool stuff. And, in a 2 to 3 year time period, things will have changed. And most banks, including Starling, will be gearing up to do very interesting things in the crypto areas. The time frame of 2 to 3 years is interesting because it is a fairly short term, and where monolithic corporations are concerned, it is practically around the corner. In that time frame, the European Central Bank may have well decided just what an e-euro looks like, and more crucially, it may have decided whether such euro will be more crypto or more paper scan to call it a website. It just goes over some stuff. It talks about like flash loans coming into play. It says how at that point we'd be looking at a crypto market cap of 10 trillion, or about 10% of global stocks currently, with Bitcoin itself being at 6 trillion if everything stayed the way it is. I think we have some things that are going to be pulling away from that. It talks about grayscale. JP Morgan, because of all the demand, has had no choice but to start offering it, even if it is limited through the Bitcoin Trust and all that stuff. They talk about grayscale has a slightly pump and dumpish design due to its 6-month holding requirement. And it just goes into some of the stuff they're doing. I was trying to find this one point. In 2 or 3 years, we should perhaps enjoy what in internet terms would be 1995, which happens to be the year JP Morgan launched online banking, with their history page stating 1995 online banking and the internet. Chemical launches online banking, which allows customers to consolidate all of their accounts and access them from their home computers. 2 years later, MDB Bank, Bank One, and Chase each introduced online banking services. First, Chicago MBD introduces a free internet bank in 1998. The beginning of the offering of Bitcoin products is perhaps the equivalent, but just as then, so too now. Few are quite watching this in some ways non-development, and more are wondering just how crypto-native finance will be utilized by coders, and whether in decades or so they'll dominate all finance. So it's just there was a few things in there I wanted to go over. I'm still not seeing the one thing, but whatever. Check this article out. It'll be in the description. I thought this was crazy. I saw this when I first woke up this morning. Just in, the U.S. Department of Justice is investigating whether Tether misled banks about crypto business. Executives behind the digital token said to face criminal probe into bank fraud. Now, this is what's crazy, because they just did their interview. They were always like kind of like, no, we're not going to do an interview. I think they got the CEO and like the main I don't know what you would call head of counsel or whatever, general counsel, whatever their main attorney guy would be called. And then this article kind of goes into what effect would Tether being a complete fraud have on cryptos. Well, it could get crazy because Tether is the third largest digital currency by market cap. They're calling it a digital currency and not a cryptocurrency because there is no Tether blockchain, and USDTs are not mined, they are minted. And this is where everything gets funky. So nobody knows where all the tethers are coming from or what happens to the assets backing them, from which they are ostensibly reserved. Nobody knows for sure if newly minted USDT have any backing at all, which they went through all that, and a lot of these people from Bitfinex, I mean, it's there's too many dots there for me to be cool with this. Where does it talk about? This article is really cool if you should read. Okay, so if Tether is a complete fraud and intrinsically worthless, there is no collateral there to hold the peg. It's all been spent on villas and yachts. Then what? Tether is now in excess of $60 billion, and at least some of it is being used as collateral in various staking, collateralization, and liquidity pools. So if a Tether crisis occurs, it would set off a cascading failure of Murad-DeFi applications and instruments collateralized in part by USDT would vaporize, causing a chain reaction. An even larger liquidity shock would completely seize up the centralized exchanges, especially the ones with high levels of USDT reserves. It would look like what happened across the entire space during the May crypto crash, except it might drag out for days or even weeks if it turns out Tether is more embedded in the crypto economy than people thought. However, I think the ramifications of it being true that Tether could be a total zero are contrary to those who think it would mean death knell for cryptos. A Tether crisis will not kill crypto. The crypto economy would take a hit, and possibly a big one. I think it could be a huge one. And then if it's going to rebuild itself and keep moving forward. Ironically, that will all happen without any bailouts or regulatory interventions. Everyone involved is going to take full ownership of their losses. Imagine that. In the end, I think what Tether shows us is that the dangers of being able to print value ex nihilo and be able to use that as collateral or even currency. Bitcoin maxis say that Bitcoin derives its value from the economic trade-off involved in the energy needed to mine it. Ethereum is the same for now, but after it moves to proof of stake, one could posit the value is derived from the community and the market inertia of the ecosystem. Even printing a digital currency out of it, thin air at whim and with no supply cap would be fine in the sense of legal, but probably close to worthless. See SafeMoon. But minting a stablecoin that is claimed to be pegged to some other asset without being adequately reserved against it would be fraud. What is interesting to note is that if Tether's a complete fraud and what they are doing essentially counterfeiting a fake currency peg, pay attention to what exactly is being counterfeit. They are not pretending to mint Bitcoin because they can't. Nobody can, which is the entire point of cryptocurrency. They are pretending to mint a peg to fiat dollars, which they themselves by backed by nothing and can be created at will, and using it to buy what? Cryptos. Said differently, Tether tells us more about the flaws inherent in fiat currencies than it does about cryptos. Tether could be viewed as a microcosmic example of the USD being played out and fast forward. When and if Tether implodes, we should watch carefully for hints of what could happen in a full-blown USD or any other fiat currency crisis. If and when it implodes and goes to zero, we may face yet another body blow that over time cryptos will surmount and recover from. How much and how long depends on where we are in the cycle. And you guys know USDC, which is a revert circle, they're going public. They are very well positioned to swoop in and really shore up some things if and when this does happen. I will not use Tether for anything other than a mandatory instant trade. I will not hold it. I hold BUSD and USDC. Pretty much that's mainly all I hold as far as those goes. Sometimes I've used DAI, but the USDC and BUSD are the only ones I've been using, other than USDX, which is a sort of a stable coin as well, but it's through the Kava platform and it's functioning a little differently right now. So keep in mind, guys, if this happens and we have this big crash and Tether goes worthless, if you have other stable coins at the ready for something like this, I mean, who knows what the dip looks like right there? I mean, that could be like a ditch. You know what I mean? It's and then this is talking about just Grayscale and CoinDesk Indexes launching a decentralized finance fund that's added on to all the other ones. It will consist of all of these guys, which are all pretty cool. Uniswap, as we all know, they are heavily governed. I keep forgetting to make sure I'm saying the right university, but I'm almost positive it's Harvard. Uniswap and Harvard. Let's see if that produces anything. Yeah, Harvard Law. And what was interesting about this, they don't have anything on here, which is also interesting, but they were just able to pass stuff very easily because of the amount that they held in that. But DeFi, there's a lot of narrative building around them. Gensler doesn't seem to like them. A lot of people think it might be illegal, and it's kind of on the fence. So I'm a big DeFi guy. I think it's going to be bigger than just blockchain itself. That is financial freedom. That is what I'm all about here on this channel, above all. So, yeah. Just wanted to show you that. Tesla and MicroStrategy will be reporting on their crypto assets next week. That will be interesting. Stay tuned for that. How much are they buying? What are they selling? It's always nice to see because, it's never quite exactly what we expect it to be. And that's always an interesting thing to look at. Countries representing over 90% of the global GDP are exploring CBDCs. I'm not going to cover this article in depth, but we know that this is still going on. The narrative has kind of died out a little bit because things got real slow and real quiet in the market for a while. Now you see the excitement's coming out. I even have a few of my friends that I've known for years that weren't really saying much about crypto recently, even though they were bullish a few months ago. And then now this morning in my Facebook group, a couple of you guys are, commenting that I haven't heard from. I got a couple messages, people asking questions again. So, some of that's building up again. Don't get ahead of yourself, but it is fun to be excited. This is also exciting. 2021 has seen the installation of over 10,000 new crypto ATMs worldwide, with the U.S. taking the lead. Global crypto ATM installations have increased by 70% in 2021. I just think that's awesome. I've seen them. I haven't really used them, but Ethereum eyes rallied to 3K with a 39% price rebound, triggering a classic bullish pattern. Like I said, guys, timing is everything with this stuff. All the charts had that bottom out structure. I'm not a TA guy. BC Backer covers it very well, though. He talks about, I think you have the 7 waves, and in like the 4th wave or the 5th wave, it's comprised of X amount of waves and all that stuff. Whatever the real way to look at that is, it was happening across the board. And I suggest you guys go check his stuff out to see it, because he called the fact that it looked like it was bottoming out. He's also saying to pay attention to what the hell's going on, because it is crypto. So, but go check that out, because it was showing it on several of the cryptos, the market caps, Bitcoins everywhere. New rules could permit the Korean government to seize tax evaders' crypto. And I think this is coming to us very soon, guys. I think child support, I think taxes, I think, let's say you got court costs and fines from a criminal case or a civil case you weren't actually able to pay out, but the verdict is whatever. I think a lot of that stuff, they're going to start tapping into people's crypto, man, because there are people using it as a hedge from responsibility, and I'm not weighing in on how I feel about that, because I believe each person's life is their own, just as their circumstances are theirs alone. So just saying, though, it is something that you should be aware of, regardless of where you stand on that, because further regulation inbound, we know that. Blockchain Australia is calling for a state of crypto safe harbor. We know that term. Hester Peirce is pounding the table for that here, where you will have a certain time frame to get yourself decentralized and make sure you meet the criteria to not be a security. Otherwise, you will then be classified as a security. That is me paraphrasing. Go check that bill out if you want to really get a full understanding. They're saying here that the government and relevant regulators should provide crypto asset providers a safe harbor until such a time that they introduce guidance or legislation. Any legislation should contain an appropriate transition period and not apply retrospectively. And it's true, man, because what are they supposed to do? Just wait years and years? It even says right here, crypto advocates emphasize local industry cannot afford to wait years for regulatory clarity. You're slowing down the train while China's just plowing ahead, and that's making a lot of people nervous. Let's be real. Speaking of China, here comes some more of this narrative. Crypto bans. This article was okay. I'm not really a fan of The Hill generally. For some reason, their writers don't always appeal to me. But I would test it out. They do talk about this being a great test for Biden in his effort to align democracies. And that is true, because from a diplomatic standpoint, dealing with all of this is going to be a big deal. They do talk about here, though, with the rolling out of CBDCs, China, always with their eye on control, has indicated skepticism, if not disdain, toward cryptocurrencies. Indeed, that one driver in Beijing's swift move to digitize the RMB, this could be an area of U.S.-China cooperation worth exploring. If China were on board, the possibility of a UN Security Council resolution to ban cryptocurrencies could be in the cards. That would be a foundation for taking the issue to the group of 20 to make it a global norm. I don't see that happening, period. I don't. I could see some of them being reclassified and stuff like that, but they're not going to go away. There's too much money. And then they talk about here, a digitized dollar would likely make it hard to dodge taxes with untraceable cash, but just how traceable would the public and Congress accept a CBDC to become? Would the fact of a CBDC making transactions safe, faster, and cheaper be worth some of the trade-off? And that kind of just plays into what they were talking about there. This article is just covering that again, that China's signaling it. If China wants to regulate crypto to achieve its overarching goal of globalization of the digital RMB, Bitcoin is not a direct competition to the digital yuan. I don't think the cryptocurrency industry would suffer from China's pullback. I agree with that, man. We have not really suffered that bad since the giant exodus of miners happened, other than people panic selling. I mean, a lot of what happened was just the China FUD and then Elon. Everybody freaked out for no reason. That's the reality, man. Nothing actually happened. I don't know how many people realize that. Nothing really happened. The fundamentals have stayed the same for the most part in our part of the world, which when I say our, I'm in the U.S. And I think even in UK and Asia, I think with China and everywhere, South America, Africa, with China getting out of the game, I mean, it's just everybody's coming to everywhere else. I don't know why everybody freaked out. I get it was scary when you see a red candle, but geez, man, I don't even have that much money, and maybe that's why I'm so calm. I don't know. Here's some interesting videos about Ripple. I wanted to close this off with some Ripple XRP stuff. Yeah, like I said, we had some other assets we were going to talk about towards the end, and I think you're going to like some of this stuff. Listen to this.
I would say that the XRP ledger is positioned to be kind of like the best blockchain for tokenization, right? Tokenization of assets. Now, as I said, the XRP ledger was the first blockchain to allow tokenization of assets, and there's been things like gold and silver tokenized on the XRP ledger for many years now,
Right.
euros, US dollars, et cetera, and other cryptocurrencies. Ethereum is actually tokenized on the XRP ledger. Bitcoin is tokenized on the XRP ledger. So yes, this is the thing, that the XRP ledger was so far ahead of most of the other blockchains. I mean, the XRP ledger existed before Ethereum did. Vitalik Buterin, the creator of Ethereum, actually tried to intern at Ripple right in the early days. So the XRP ledger was so far ahead, but I think what has happened is that people are not aware of the functionality with the XRP ledger. As you say, we've had a chance to kind of build it, break it, build it again. And in some ways, I say this in the nicest possible way, but sometimes the XRP ledger is possibly perceived as boring because it just works, right? Dramatic issues that, say, Bitcoin and Ethereum have to do. So Ethereum's moving to proof of stake. That's a massive thing at the moment that's taking up a lot of development time. Bitcoin is building second layer solutions to fix the scaling problem. The XRP ledger hasn't had to deal with any of those issues. So in some regards, it might be seen as like boring to some people just because it works, right? And so sometimes it's a little difficult to kind of say to people, hey, look, we've got all of this. We've been doing all of this. It just works.
Right.
So, and a lot of times as well, it's to do with terminology, right? The XRP ledger existed, again, before all of these other systems, before a lot of the terminology within the industry existed. So the concept of stable coins and tokenization, the XRP ledger was doing it beforehand, but we called it issued assets, or we called it IOUs. We didn't call it tokens or stable coins, but it's exactly the same thing. Just we created a different terminology, and people are not necessarily aware that it's the same thing. So
I'm going to keep telling you guys about the XRP ledger, man. This thing is bigger than a lot of you guys think it is. I know one of my close friends, he stated one time that he didn't need to know too much about this stuff because his friends knew enough about it to where he would, felt confident making a decision if he wanted to. And while I get what he's saying, it's like a lot of people that you talk to in this space, they're just like, oh, well, XRP is being sued by the SEC. Well, no, they're not. Ripple's being sued by the SEC. Ripple's a company that has a very strong interest in XRP, but they are not the same thing. And DAI is talking here about how nothing happens in finance without Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan. Still think Bitcoin and Ethereum came out of nowhere? Please. And this is what's really interesting. Software engineering, finance, and cryptography were central during employment with Goldman Sachs. These guys show up everywhere, man. And Goldman Sachs is all over that project the entire time. And then look at this, Stephen Thomas. Our team has experience at places like Google and Apple, but also the Federal Reserve, the SEC, and Goldman Sachs. Guys, this thing is, I don't even want to get into it. I'll get all fired up and add 20 minutes to this video right now. Don't mess with me. He was posting that the CRCM Ventures an investor in both Ripple and Standard custody. How many times have you heard XRP? The Standard words mean things. I do agree with that, and I did think this was cool. They're just talking about how they work together, yada, yada, yada. There's Brad rocking the beard. Here's some of the people that they were involved with, and it's just talking about PolySign, and, there's Ripple, PolySign. Brad down there again. But it is interesting that, and now Standard custody, which is PolySign, Ripple, XRP, the Standard. I love where DAI goes with some of this stuff sometimes. And then here's some CNBC. This is from the Tether interview. I kind of went live on this thing too a little bit. I tried to anyway. It was I tried to cover some of it. These clips are really good. So he says here about how she's being a journalist and asking the right questions. And imagine if they did that over at Squawk Box when talking to Jay Clayton or William Hinman about ties to Ethereum in China. Just imagine it. So listen to how she comes at these guys. You don't see this on CNBC, not when it comes to this type of stuff.
Stuart just said that you guys are backed by reserves. You guys published a pie chart that showed less than 3% of that actually was US dollars. More than 50% of that is commercial paper. I know you guys have said that it's rated A2 or above. Can you give us any more details about what exactly that commercial paper is?
So we don't disclose our commercial partners, so that is quite important. We want to, given our portfolio composition in commercial papers, we believe that is quite important to respect the privacy of the banking partners that we work with. Also, you spoke about trust, and and the fact that volume is not a proxy for trust, but when an asset is not trusted and Tether is trusted, when an asset is not trusted, it gets sold at any price, and yet Tether holds perfectly the $1 price on all the crypto exchanges. So I believe that it's important to underline how the broader community trusts us. So I wouldn't rely on, few. Yeah.
That's fair, but isn't that trust a little bit fragile? You have major people, regulators such as Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen talking about the risks of stablecoin. You've got another Fed President, Rosengren, talking about the dangers of Tether. So is this not an opportunity to come on? I'm not going to ask for names, who exactly is in your reserves of commercial paper, but could you tell us a little bit more information? For example, is any commercial paper held in Chinese companies?
Stu, you want to take this one?
Yeah, absolutely. Deirdre, our portfolio contains international commercial paper. As you noted from our public disclosures, it is overwhelmingly rated A2 or better.
But I'm not going to answer your question. DAI put together a little snip here. It will start off with that same clip, but watch it. You'll get the point. You're going to want to see this.
Stuart just said that you guys are backed by reserves. You guys published a pie chart that showed less than 3% of that actually was US dollars. More than 50% of that is commercial paper. I know you guys have said that it's rated A2 or above. Can you give us any more details about what exactly that commercial paper is?
So we don't disclose our commercial partners, so that is quite important.
How do you go about managing your treasury within Consensus and your own personal one?
I guess no comment. So we personally, in terms of Consensus, we are a small fraction of the Ethereum asset and all the assets on the Ethereum platform. And we manage our treasury like a company would manage its treasury.
The only interjection I have here is I find it interesting that Ripple is attacked for being transparent. Because we are very proactive, and we put actually the next XRP markets report, which we do quarterly, will come out sometime at the end of this week. But because we share that information and we're attacked for it, yet other platforms don't share that information, and so they are insulated from those same critiques and criticisms. I think in the dictionary that's called hypocrisy. I'm not 100% sure, but it's close.
Is there any plan for greater transparency within Consensus in terms of how it deploys its Ethereum?
Internally, sure. And, we're a private company, and we
Ripple's a private company, too.
Absolutely. And transparency is important to us. But we also have to be strategic about information that we release, and we... with respect to those sorts of issues, I haven't really thought too much about whether we need to disclose how we pay people, when we pay people, etc. It's just operating a company.
Yeah, because operating a company doesn't require you to do any of those things. Wow. Anyway. And then this was interesting too. You see right here the CNBC U.S. contributors list. Look at Jay Clayton, senior policy advisor at Sullivan and Cromwell. What a schmuck! Get a haircut, dude. Kind of reminds me of when he goes to the SEC and has to recuse himself from any cases involving major Wall Street firms, which he represented at his time at Sullivan and Cromwell. While CNBC journalists must have to recuse themselves from asking him any questions related to Ripple and Ethereum now, because they sure as hell aren't doing it. XRP lawsuit. Will the SEC taking on its own commissioner's statements backfire? This has been the most exciting development of this case in a long time, man. I am really, 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 really bullish now. And, they came out and stated, I don't know if it actually has the actual quote, but Hester Peirce and Eli Roisman, their statements are supplemental authority in support of Ripple's opposition to the SEC's pending motion to strike Ripple's fair notice defense, the firm is claiming. However, the SEC backfired, highlighting 5 reasons why the defendant's latest argument shouldn't be allowed. The individual defendants in the case, Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson, have now filed their own responses. The two characterize the SEC's reply as going on to publicly rebuke these two commissioners' considered views and that there is no clarity. The development in question was first brought to the community's attention by attorney James Fillon, who, shout out to you, man. We really appreciate your hard work because you get it out right away. Even today, 2 of the 5 commissioners of the agency acknowledged that questions and confusions persist in the marketplace. The Kick and Telegram cases did not involve any claims against individual defendants, and the NAC Foundation case did not involve claims of aiding and abetting under Section 15 of the Securities Act. So they're basically shooting down whether or not they should even be able to use the SEC should be able to use these cases to really come after their fair notice defense. Because if they're stating right here that 2 of the 5 commissioners acknowledge that there has never been a sufficient clarity and that there has always been persistent confusion in the marketplace, and they're saying that now in 2021, how do you go all the way back to 2015 claiming these guys were knowingly and recklessly conducting in this behavior by selling unregistered securities? So it just doesn't make any sense. I think that's a huge pivotal point. Again, guys, timing is everything. This was only a few days ago. Then the B word's happening. You got all this stuff that's building up. The Tether thing kind of worries me, I'm not going to lie. But you see this Amazon rumor comes out, and now everything's raging again, right? And keep in mind, tomorrow, the SEC's Fair Notice Farce starring William Hinman. This is a great article to check out. The only reason I really have it in here as far as the video goes is that, remember, he is supposed to sit down and be deposed by Ripple Labs attorneys tomorrow, guys. Tomorrow. So make sure you're paying attention to the news, turn your notifications on, whatever. I'll be stuck to Twitter all day waiting for something to break. And then here's what's even crazier, guys. Just the day after that comes the deadline that Elizabeth Warren gave to Gary Gensler, the chairman of the SEC, that she needs an answer on crypto regulation. What is going on? Now, keep in mind, I do think somebody like Elizabeth Warren could get on the side of getting rid of crypto entirely. I don't think Gary Gensler is going to go there. I think he has a difference in opinion with some people as far as how it should be regulated. But let's see what happens here. This is all huge news happening at the end of this month. I think August could be very, very crazy. I did stumble upon this. This is Chris Giancarlo. I believe he's formerly of the CFTC. I don't think he's still there. He is now an attorney. He is going to talk about the tokenization world in the making, and he's going to talk about what he thinks about this entire thing.
A lot of our financial market infrastructure is similarly aged and in some cases obsolete. And the second observation is we're truly seeing a new wave of the internet, an internet of the things of value. And that new wave is going to put serious pressure on these antiquated financial systems. And it's really that led me to being a proponent for exploration of a US CBDC. Absolutely, others are doing it around the world. It's not just China. We know that.
Also part of the Digital Dollar Foundation.
Over 50 central banks are experimenting with this. The United States has been a leader in so many phases of technology. Our feeling is it needs to be a leader in this phase as well.
And then, Chris, while we have you here today, just recently you made some comments about XRP, once known as Ripple, of course, not being, in your view, a security. And it was interesting, that was picked up in a lot of places, and then some people kind of pointed out, well, Chris is no longer with the agency, former CFTC. So I guess I'd ask how closely you're in touch with the current regulators and whether we should take your view as the official regulatory view. And then also some people pointing out that you're working in some ways as a consultant with Ripple, the company behind XRP. So some people kind of take your declaration on XRP with a grain of salt. What do you say to that?
Well, first of all, I am not an official, and so I am not speaking in an official capacity. Ultimately, it'll be the courts that will determine this. I am now a practicing lawyer. I'm with the firm of Wilkie Farr and Gallagher. Ripple is a client of the firm, because I really do believe the big picture is what is important here, and that is we truly are approaching a second wave of the internet. The first wave was the internet of information that created, at first things like Wikipedia, but ultimately social media and online commerce. This next wave of the internet is going to take things of value and put them into a digitized, in some case tokenized form.
And with that, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you get an update anytime I drop a video. Share this video on social media if you don't mind. Tell your family and your friends that, we're about to see a new wave. Buckle up, because this is all happening, guys. It's no longer speculation. As to where, when, and how much, that's speculation. But it happening is not, in my opinion. I'll see you guys later.